we're moving these aeoniums. They didn't do very well here. So I'm going to take these back to the house and put them in a pot again. Oh. Didn't really develop much by way of a decent root ball. Maybe that's half the problem. But they'll happily go back in a pot. And I can take some cuttings from these in the spring. I'm a bit too late on this one. Fill that in. Put something else in there. I'm going to do the same with this aeonium, which definitely has done rubbish. Lots of little heads. Oh, dropped one. Where is he? Oh look, that's pretty poor. Oh, here's one. Oh, there's a few down here. This is big. Oh, so there's a wee handful. So this is the physalis that's growing just in the path that I don't want. Because as you can see, it grows enormous. So what I'm going to do is just chop this off. And Dan's going, oh look at that, there's a tomato in here. For goodness sakes. Didn't even see that one. And chop this off. Oh, there's another bit. Nothing to eat in that one. And replant it. So these are perennials. Whoops. It's got a deep root.
I think that's several plants.
Yes, I know. Oh my goodness. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's perfect. I'm sure one of them will survive at least. I think you might have to dig here. Soft shoes are useless for digging. I just dig that good and deep.
So we're planting the physalis here on the berm next to the crabapple. So it'll provide a bit of ground cover to shelter the roots from the sun, from the heat, and also stop the weeds growing here. And hopefully this is going to go to the south, the east and the west, but not north onto the path.
This is actually a Japanese crabapple that we bought in the Kensho bonsai studio when it was little stick. And it's got the most beautiful blossom that we'll be able to see from the veranda. It's positioned perfectly so that we can see from the veranda to here when it's a lovely tree. It's got beautiful deep pink blossom. and it's a lovely rounded canopy. Well, it will be sometime in the future.
This comfrey wasn't doing very well here, but it has done reasonably well. It'll just do a lot better somewhere else. So we're going to replant this over where we put the Japanese crabapple and the physalis, and hopefully it'll do a lot better over there. We can probably separate this into several new plants. 2 good plants to plant over the other side. I'm just going to slice this Bocking 14 Comfrey into 2 pieces. All you actually need for this is a little bit of the roots and it will regrow. We've got a bit of rain coming, but these need a watering in to keep them going until they see the rain.
I'm just going to chop this off so that it doesn't have too much to maintain. And I'll throw that over on the beside the Japanese crabapple, because that's what we tend to do with comfrey leaves. Well, these are ready. Quinces have been described as almost Rubenesque with their voluptuousness. So I'll let the cat out of the bag. Marmellos are also known as these. So I've been told. When they're young, if you can come in close, I'll show you. They've got this little furriness. I'm rubbing it off so you can see, like velvet. And now that it's nearly gone, and you can see they're really ready. This one's a little bit sunburnt. But I've taken about half of these off the tree, and I've been still a bit greedy. But they're most famously used in Portugal for making marmalada, which is also known as membrillo in Spanish. Membrillo. Dan's more of the Spanish guy than me. And when you cook these, the smell of them, oh my goodness, it's so exotic. Like roses, makes you think of exotic adventures in the Arabian Nights. Oh, it's so good. Even if you never ate them and just poached a couple, the fragrance just lingers in the house forever. We'll be making a little bit of marmalada, some poached quinces and some roast quinces. They're used a lot in Moroccan cookery in tagines. These will sit in a bowl in the house for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, you can't eat these raw unless you've got titanium teeth. And even then, I don't know. They're rock hard.
And too sharp.
Too sharp?
Yeah.
I've never eaten one raw, Dan. I don't know how sharp they are.
Very.
Right, well, anyway, they're like a brick. Hard as a brick. Thank you, James, for planting this tree. Look at that. Look at my marmelos.
Like a jungle up here. Passion fruit is growing into the loft. It is absolutely rampant.
We missed a melon. It grew inside the wall. I'll get it up close. Seriously. It's now part of the wall. It's perfect too. The string's all collapsed and this is all collapsed.
Yeah, I remember I couldn't get those posts very far into the ground.
I'm just going to cut these tomatoes off, but there's a lot of good growth and there's some rain coming.
And a little knife.
Wow. Let me see. Oh, that was never ours.
No.
Oh, gosh. So Dan just found this little knife, but it doesn't look as if it's been in the ground for very long. But we've never owned it. Where do you think that came from?
No idea.
Maybe it was in the bark? Well, how bizarre. So we've never stopped harvesting tomatoes because we don't prune them. What happens when you don't prune them is that all the leaves shade out the inner tomatoes and they take a longer time to ripen, but it means that we get fewer tomatoes in a glut and they keep going for much longer. But there's some rain forecast. By the way, it's October and we thought we were in autumn, but it's 35 degrees today. It's been very hot for a few days. So things have taken like a new spring, second coming. So what are you doing over there behind the yacons?
Just doing a bit of weeding, just tidy up a little bit. As soon as we had a little bit of rain a little while ago, and it's been warm, everything, including the weeds, starts to grow. The aubergines that were in front of here that looked like they were dead in the summer have sprung back to life. This plant's laden with green peppers. think we might get some self-seeded tomatoes along here.
I need to take off all this ivy because it actually starts pulling the wall apart. I'm never going to get rid of it completely. But I'll put this on time lapse and we'll see the results. Well, that's this section of the wall done, and it's way too hot. So I'm going to take a wee break. You might have noticed this wisteria shrunk in size during the time lapse. Well, that's because he has no manners and he's grown faster than Speedy Gonzales. I should mention, I'm not as enthusiastic with a brush in the house as I am here on the Quince. I like this. It has a purpose, you know. I'm doing it so that I can shake out any seeds that might have settled in the grooves so that they don't regrow. And, oh, don't know if you can see, but over here, watch I don't kill my peanuts. Over here we have the yacons, which are now starting to bud, and they'll produce a sort of a sunflower type flower. But the leaves are soft, velvety, kind of like a peach. Oh, it's lovely. I do like this fruit, vegetable, whatever you call it, but it's juicy and crispy like a pear, and I will show it to you when it's ready, but it'll not be ready for some time yet. These are the peanut plants that survived. I really have no idea when they're ready. It's not really a weed, is it? It's just an unwanted plant. I want to give these some space to put down their little pegs. That's what you call the bits that produce peanuts. That seems to be growing down here, and I think that is what a peg is, and under there might be a peanut. I'll have a look in a minute. Well, they look like they're still... Oh, there's a peanut. Oh, I think it's a peanut. No, it was a peanut. It's an empty peanut. One of the joys of an untidy garden is the amount of free plants that you get. So here I had Nigella. These are the seed heads. Some seed here. But down here are lots and lots and lots of little seedlings. So I'm just gonna scoop, patch, like so. Complete with all the other bits and bobs. I'm just gonna transplant that in the empty section that Dan's been planting up beside the Japanese thingamajig.
Crabapple.
Crabapple. Right, let's get a few more. And over here, we've got lots of little cerinthes, baby cerinthes, and they're a very early flowering plant that the bees adore. So I'm going to scoop a bit of those up too. And it's not that all of them will grow, but some of them will. And it makes for not worrying too much about how much plants cost, because there are thousands of them. And finally, over here, where we have the Californian poppies, if you remember how wonderful they looked in the summertime. Well, I cut them back and we've got a second flush, but also, again, they're seeding themselves everywhere. Now, one of the things about a self-seeded plants is that they're usually the strongest and they grow very well. So I'm going to scoop some of these up. I have a wee story about Californian poppies, because the last time I went to see my mum back in Donegal in Ireland, she says to me, we were looking out the window, and she says, oh Mairead, you must remember to take some of those seed heads and plant them. So I took the seeds. I'll tell you as I go. So I took the seeds. I'll tell you when we get over to the planting spot. Do you want them here?
Yep.
So I took the seeds and I put them in an envelope, and I never got round to planting them when I was in England, and when I came here I decided I'd plant some, and I carefully replanted some last year, about a dozen of them. And you know what, every time I see Californian poppies I always think of my mum, which is really nice, because after that day when I took the poppy seeds, well, I never actually saw her again, and it would be her birthday this week, so it's a lovely reminder of her, and it's like she won't stop, she will not let me forget her. I think the lovely true blue of the Nigella, I'm going to plant in the middle here, will be really nice contrast against, there you go, that's what you call easy planting. It'll be a lovely contrast against the orange of those Californian poppies. I'll plant another batch in there. These are all pretty tough, drought resistant plants. Not too precious about, you haven't got seeds here, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll not plant them there. I'll plant them over this side. What kind of seeds have you in there, Dan? I've forgotten.
Red clover.
Oh yeah, they're lovely. So I'll just toss that there. There now. Planted. So I probably planted about 100 plants in a minute. Well, maybe 2. There's some borage in the vegetable garden. It's nice and small. Do you want to try and shift that too?
Yeah.
Right, I'll do that. Be back in a second. Anywhere special? Borage. If you can get a wee bit of soil, original soil, from any of these transplants, it helps them to settle in a wee bit better. We'll sort these out at home.